Hello you guys, welcome back to Channel Claire. I hope you're having a lovely day wherever you may be in this crazy world. Excited because it is New York reboot day, recap day, Monday. So such excited. That's really what this video is about. But there's a couple of things I wanted to touch on prior to getting into that. So, I don't really know who watches this and who watches these anyway. And for those who have been watching throughout this season, these recaps with me, love ya. I've been enjoying this. I've never really reviewed a New York or a Real Housewives show at all. I've never reviewed a show in my life, and I'm not the best at it because obviously I'm sitting here watching and commenting on it, and I see a lot of other YouTubers like they watch it and then talk about it. So in a way I'm trying to do it differently, but it's mainly because it helps me. Like I have so much I'm trying to remember up in my head. Like I can't remember it all, and there's like details that like I like to share, and especially with a new season, a new cast, like I kind of want to get us all integrated into like what's going on with these new chicks and what's the deal. So I'm excited to see what's going on with them because it's going to be their first, I guess, it's going to be the first full episode of them away on their cast trip. So that's going to be good. But a couple of things I wanted to touch on because I've posted another Danny Masterson video because all this other shit is coming out. My mind still hasn't changed. I'm seeing that the parents, what was one of the mom's name, was her name Kitty or something like that? The parents of that 70s show, they wrote letters as well. I believe there was somewhere like 50 people who wrote letters for this man, Danny Masterson. We're gonna see how this plays out. I think it's so fucking wrong. I see that people are trying to twist and turn this. People are trying to come out against Christy Rexler, one of the victims, and Danny Masterson's ex. But at the end of the day, this man went down for R-wording 2 women. Those were found guilty, okay? So that's where I stand. Those 2 were found guilty. Y'all can go back and forth, whatever you want to do about Christy. There are 2 women that the court found guilty of that, and he was found guilty of that, Danny Masterson. So that's my feelings. I think it was so wrong. I think it was, given the situation, I understand about wanting to have compassion and being there for your family and this, then, and that's not even family. They were friends. Yes, it was a long-term friendship, 25 plus years, but that's just how I feel about it. You can disagree, you can agree, what have you. We're gonna see what's gonna happen with this Ashton Kutcher shit and the Ashley Ellerman trial. What happened with that, and speculation that possibly I don't think he murdered Ashley Ellerman. I do not think that, but there's possibilities that he could have done more or saw something, freaked the fuck out. Might have saw her even, freaked the fuck out, ran, and then called in and figure out the fuck was going on. So we'll see what happens with that. But we also know that Ashton and Mila have connections. So don't be surprised if all of this just goes radio silent and we don't hear fucking shit, okay? I did see Christina Ricci. She spoke out about the situation, but she didn't use their names or anything. But everybody, we're smart. We know what's going on. Everybody knows she's referencing Ashton and Mila about them speaking out and how, that's as much as a crime because you're basically going against what the victims are saying and what they went through. And it's just absurd. So, she made her little response with really nobody else is saying much about Ashton and Mila. I'm thinking people want to stay out of it because they see what's happening with Ashton and Mila and all their, like, a whole fucking murder case is being dug out, okay? So people are staying away. It's just very interesting. So we're gonna see what happens, see what's up with that. The other interesting thing that I saw, trigger warning, if you don't want to hear and or care about Amber Heard, click off or fast forward because that's what we're going to talk about for a hot second. and namely more about Elon, y'all. So Elon has his goddamn biography out about his fucking life and everything, and Elon is an interesting person. He's very polarizing. He has a lot going on up in here. He has a lot of control, and he has bags for days. Anything he wants, he can get, and then some, okay? So the man has acquired Twitter, changed it up, turned it over to X app. I still reference it as Twitter. He's sent people to fucking space. He has like a whole space thing, whatever the hell. He's in everything. It's just a lot. The man has money, whatever. He's doing very well for himself. He had a girlfriend. He's had many girlfriends, but the girlfriends that we really know are Grimes, who is a singer, whatever, entertainer, and then Amber Heard, who we know very well, unfortunately. So this biography, you're gonna write a biography, that means multiple parts of your life you're gonna be speaking about. So some stuff has come out about Amber and just how awful she is. And we already knew that there was rumors and speculation out there that she was abusing Elon as well, because he was seen pictured out with bruises and this, that, and other when they were together, okay? Just like Tasia, just like Johnny. It's a motherfucking pattern, okay, with this woman. And people want to, people want to act like shit didn't happen, but it's a pattern. Why is it that every fucking person she comes in contact with and has an intimate relationship with got bruises or some shit is going on? You're the common denominator. It seems like common denominator. So there's some stuff. Laura B is so gracious, and she's, kind of let us know, has taken out snippets here and there and from articles and from the book that's going to be releasing tomorrow, Tuesday, apparently. So, there was one I liked that she says, the biggest ideas and pettiest rages in Walter Isaacson's Elon Musk biography. Amber Heard drew Musk into a dark vortex around 2017, Isaac writes. She ain't waste no time hopping into another bed. Like, literally wasted not a single second hopping into another rich man's bed. Like, my God, girl. My God. Around 2017, Isaacson writes, that lasted more than a year and produced a deep-seated pain that lingers to this day. Traumatized. She's traumatizing people. They got PTSD off her crazy fucking ass. We got PTSD listening to them goddamn audios of her screaming like a motherfucking banshee and laughing maniacally like she's some evil character villain in a Disney movie, and it was scary. If you have not watched those audios or listened to the audio, listen to them. I did it my damn self on this channel way back down. You're gonna have to scroll for a minute when the trial was happening, and it's down there. Crazy. She's scary. So he's walking around with PTSD from Amber. Tasia probably walking around with PTSD from Amber. Johnny walking around with PTSD from Amber. It's crazy. She got dang on, what's her face? EB over there begging for money on Twitter because she can't get no work. It's all a mess. What happened to IO? What's going on with Raquel? They done fell off the face of the earth. They can't even have lives like they wanted to or could have, living a life without people knowing their face and name because she drugged them in some foolishness. And really it's their own faults too, because they went along with the shit. So I really don't feel that bad, but insane. So he has lingering pains and PTSD, I'm saying. And his brother and friends hated her with a passion. So this is the LA Times article. They go into his moods. And he's described as cycling through light, dark, intense, goofy, detached, emotional, and he occasionally plunges into what people around him call demon mode. He's a childlike, almost stunted drama magnet. My God, I'm loving these descriptive words. Wow, but that's a lot to describe Elon. And I can imagine all of this is true. My goodness. People describe him as having an undiagnosed Asperger's. Oh, Lord. At one point, Musk even called himself bipolar. Oh, Lord. So, yeah. Elon is an interesting one, to say the least. Like, his downfall is going to be fame, the hunger for fame or whatever. What else? Oh, I wanted to get that article. Hold on. Another little snippet was Isaacson also wades into Musk's fiery relationship with Amber Heard. She was just so toxic, Musk's brother Kimball tells Isaacson. A nightmare. A motherfucking nightmare. Like, y'all, if you have not heard the the audios, the woman is unhinged. Unhinged. Elon's brother is saying she is a nightmare. Don't be surprised if you see some little puff piece article randomly coming out by some random ass like periodical that nobody has ever heard of in life come out about this woman, or a whole bunch of pictures, you know, of her even more crippled somewhere with a cane and a boot or something, trying to get sympathy and shit. She's so fucking annoying. So the brother says she's a nightmare, hates her. She's toxic. In the book, Musk's chief of staff, Sam Teller, compares her to the Joker. Oh my goodness. And says she didn't have a goal or aim other than chaos. Did not have a goal or aim other than chaos. So to just seek and destroy and create fucking madness. You know who that sounds like? If you know, you know. She had no other goal or aim other than chaos. She thrives on destabilizing everything. That sounds like this woman. That's if you know what I mean, what that sounds like. Whose goal is to destroy, bring pain and chaos to the fucking world. Grimes says my Dungeons and Dragons alignment would be chaotic good, whereas Amber's is probably just chaotic evil. Evil! She knowingly knows what the fuck she's doing. And she's doing it to so many people. How are all these people lying about you? How did she get Io and Raquel and all of them to fucking and Evie to get up under her like this and tell her lies? How did she do that? How much money did she promise them that they were willing to fuck up their reputations and careers and shit to the point where we know their names and faces? Who wants to deal with them? Like, crazy. As for Heard herself, so she spoke to the author about Elon? I mean, I see that Grimes was here and the chief of staff, so Amber as for Heard herself, she tells Isaacson that Elon loves fire and sometimes it burns him. The fuck, bitch? So are you the fire? Did you let him know you were fucking crazy? He was like, I'm down. And so now you're like, I told you so. He likes to play with fire and you got to. Oh my God. As for Heard herself, she tells Isaac, this perfectly aligns to AH telling Christy to get off her high horse because Johnny likes her feisty. Exactly. I remember her saying that. I remember hearing that. How are you going to tell somebody's sister that? How are you going to tell Johnny's sister that? Get off my back because Johnny likes me feisty. Disrespectful. AH definitely has self-awareness issues. That is correct. Like, what the fuck? Ay, ay, ay. So if you guys want to know any more about that, you can go ahead and take a look at that. I just don't want to talk about her anymore. I just don't. Who has on a wig? Hold up. Why are they saying Kate Middleton got on a wig? What? Why would she need to wear a wig? What is this even talking about? Oh, they yassified the photo. Okay, this is Photoshopped. I'm about to say, like, what? That doesn't make sense. Okay, so now that that is out the way, and it's probably like 30 minutes into this video. I'm sorry, I feel like my videos are getting longer and longer. I need to like cut them up. Maybe this will be something separate. I don't know. New York, we'll get into it. So yesterday, I did kind of film something about, you know, more updated information about this Danny Masterson situation with Chrisley Drexler and Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis and whatnot. And I found myself being very upset. So I'm like, let me try to redo this and get out my thoughts in a better, more, just in a better way, you know, that's not as irate. For the most part, the majority of people, you know, with this Mila and Ashton situation are thinking that them writing the letters of character reference for Danny was not a good look. It wasn't the best thing to do given what he's been charged with, the 30 years to life. It's just, you know, the victims, it's just so not a good look. And anything that I'm about to say, my mind has not changed on that. I think it was very wrong and inappropriate, in my opinion. It is not something that I would do. It is not something that I think that they should have done. There's also speculation that, you know, they're possibly being blackmailed by other forces, this Church of Scientology, which I don't put it past them. That is a freaking cult right there. Dangerous. And I have experienced the situation unknowingly of their members trying to wrap me and some other coworkers up in their shit, and it was so weird. So like I could see that happening. I also want to say I do not think with all this stuff going out, I do not think that Ashton Kutcher had anything to do with the murder of Ashley Ellerman. However, I do think he saw something. He may have even allegedly saw her. I think he saw something, whatever. He may have saw a disturbance, things knocked over. I think he saw something. It spooked him. He was a young actor, was trying to make it big and didn't want anything to get in the way of that. So he called up his good friend Danny and they talked about a fucking plan as to what was going on. And Chrisley Drexler was there and heard it. I think that's more along the lines of what took place. And now all of this is coming out because they put this letter out. There are other people that feel as if this is a long-term friendship that Mila and Ashton have had with Danny Masterson, 25 years over. You should have loyalty and compassion for your friends. And that because they did the letters, doesn't negate what the victims are saying. I just don't see how it can be both ways in that situation. And it seems as if Ashton and Mila think that Danny was wrongly convicted. And I see that Jessica in House and Habit and Colonel Kurtz are also questioning. And I'm just really confused because they're like women, and I, especially Jessica in House and Habit, I followed her throughout the trial, the Johnny Depp trial. She had so much insight with Amber Heard's situation and, you know, the behind the scenes of Elon Musk and that triangle romance they had going on with the other chick and the ripped dress and her craziness and her toxicity that's just been running forever. And she has so much intel and insight on all of that. I even subscribe to her Substack for a sec. Corner Hurts, I'm really not surprised about, because I've seen her do this, like when the internet or when the majority of people are seeing things in one way, she typically takes the offense and goes the other way. I have seen her do this before. So the two of them have questions, and they're kind of pushing back against this Chrissy Drexler. My thing is, like, you're questioning Chrissy Drexler because, you know, her first and second trial, you know, there was no guilty verdict found. They're saying that there's stuff going on with her. But at the end of the day, he was convicted of 2 R-words. 2 women who were assaulted violently and heinously, and he was charged for that. And I think I even saw, like, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure I saw Colonel Kurtz say that she hasn't seen any other evidence but the victim's words and experience of, like, telling what's happening to the effect that Danny Masterson did this. So I'm like, are they questioning also that they think that he's been wrongly convicted? Like, this man really got put away for 30 years to life for no fucking reason, and the court system got it completely wrong. The entirety of it wrong. A white, straight, rich man. They typically can get away with a lot of shit, especially when they're connected to the Scientology church, because they like to protect and do what they do in the background to, like, stop shit from happening and scare people and intimidate people and this, that, and other for speaking out and this, that, and the other. And things just seem to disappear. So for him to have gotten to this point where there was a trial and he was convicted and sentenced, I don't really see why any of this matters. Just because Chrissy didn't get a guilty verdict. So now they're questioning all this shit. And now Chrissy Drexler and Jessica In-House Inhabit are going at it. So where was the first one I saw? I'm trying to find it. Here it goes. So Jessica In-House Inhabit posted on her IG story, and this is where the questioning is coming in. After speaking to several Anon sources, no, they're not Scientologists, I'll be sharing their perspective on this situation next week. Okay. So now there's several Anon sources that are coming out, and they're speaking to Jessica. Chrissy Drexler, unlike the other 2 victims, did not receive a guilty verdict for Masterson in our charges. I get that, but is this negating the other charges he did get? I feel like it's kind of being dismissive of those other things. Like, okay, so if it didn't happen with Chrissy, we're questioning if it happened to the other 2 ladies? Like, I'm just not getting it, you guys. The jury did not believe her accusations on the first or second trial. She was his living girlfriend for several years. This will be a significant factor later. So I guess we're trying to say that this is a woman who's coming out for revenge and wants to go scorched earth and, you know, just trying to ruin somebody because he did her wrong in their past relationship or whatever, and trying to belittle it to something like that. Good God. Some details from people who knew her during their 6-year relationship with Masterson are of new interest now in examining some unknown details in this case. Unfortunately, only after his conviction did sources feel obligated to reach out to me. Like, this is what pisses me off. Like, I understand it's hard for people to speak out and people are scared and intimidated and shit, but this man has already been through a trial, convicted, and sentenced, and you had information that you were sitting on that could have swayed the situation either one way or another, and now after he's been convicted, you're wanting to come out and go to Jessica Inhabit and tell her all types of shit? That doesn't make sense to me. Just like in the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial, they kept trying to say, Amber would be like, I have all these mountains of evidence, I have this, that, and the other, whatever came out. Nothing. She says here that she's going to be talking about and giving this perspective next week, but I'm just like, it irritates me because if you truly had something that would have made a difference in this case, like you're trying to make it seem, then I feel like you should have spoke up. If that was going to save a man's life who completely didn't do any of this shit to the point where we're questioning this. And now you're going to Jessica in House and Habit and telling situations in real scenarios of what actually happened that you're just now wanting to tell after a man is locked away for life. And while I'm here, the whole internet is against them. I want to openly applaud Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis for being brave enough to defend a friend. Someone they believe was wrongly convicted. I don't need to agree with them or their stance to respect that decision. I mean, you can respect the decision. That's fine, but that doesn't mean other people are you can do whatever you want in this world. It does not mean other people are not going to have a reaction and something to say back to what it is that you're doing or saying. That's just how the world fucking works. So, like, you knew this was going to be a spin that was not going to be a good take. You had to have known that. Because now it is discrediting for the victims because you're trying to at least discredit one victim. So how does that not move into the space in trying to discredit two other ones? And you're saying it's okay for Ashton and Mila to have written this character reference for their friend, which directly is saying, going against the stories of the victims, because they're saying that Danny Masterson did not do drugs, literally made them, never want to do drugs and discouraged them from doing it. So how could he have done the R word and this, that, and other, and you should give leniency in his sentencing? He helped a woman in a pizza parlor. So how dare he? There's no way he could do this. Those letters were very much discrediting the victims. I'm just not understanding. But because, and it really makes me like, so now, okay. Hollywood has no backbone. Many celebrities silently support Danny, and I know because they write to me about it, but would never publicly express it. So celebrities are writing to Jessica in support of Danny, but they don't want to publicly say this. Why don't you publicly want to say it? Because there's so much evidence that he did do it, which is why he was convicted and tried and sentenced for 30 years? Because if you had that much hardcore evidence that he did not do it, you would think you would come out with that said information regardless to save the life of your friend. Right? If you're that, hard down, if you that ride or fucking die, why be scared? If you're that diehard, you're that ride or die. They're apparently terrified too. I have way more respect for those willing to stand in support of their friends and their beliefs, no matter what the internet mob thinks about the situation. And it's so dismissive. Like, yes, I understand the whole internet mob, the mob mentality of cancellation. I get how that it can have a negative effect. But there's situations, especially because, the Johnny Depp thing and everything, but there's situations where people are just voicing their opinions collectively on something that was put out. Nobody, it was leaked to the public, these letters. That's not our fault. So now that we know this information, we're simply responding that we think it's fucking shitty. Because if we were in a situation, scenario with one of our loved ones, it would be a shitty situation to us. But I guess they're okay with it. I guess they're completely fine if it were them in the same situation. People are welcome to believe and have a perspective of their own, but this take isn't making sense to me. So she has way more respect for those willing to stand in support of their friends and their beliefs, no matter what the internet mob thinks of the situation, than those who sit silent in fear of being shunned by society and industry, Well, aren't those like the Anon people that are in your box? Isn't that what they did previously? Because the man went to jail and is sentenced for 30 years to life. So these people who are Anons that are now only coming into your box after the fact literally sat and were in silent in fear of being shunned and are only now trying to say something, but they're still Anons. So then here we go with Chrissy. She says, so now we have Chrissy Drexler responding to support for Masterson by insinuating that Ashton Kutcher played a part in a brutal murder that had already been solved. Stop for a second to realize the weight of that accusation. I think she knows the weight of that accusation. And she said that she let the police, the law officials, they know the information. And she never said that Ashton murdered Ashley Ellerman. She didn't say that. She said she heard a conversation. Danny was on the phone and it was Ashton and they were talking about a plan of what to fucking do on February 21st, 2001, whatever the date was, which was the day that Ashley Ellerman was murdered. Ashton was supposed to have a date with her that day. That timeline is real sketchy and suspicious. If you haven't seen my other videos with the lady Nuha with the TikToks that breaks it all down, go watch that. Ashton's timeline is hella suspicious and it's very tight and it's very close. Very, very close. So I think she knows the weight of it. I really do think she knows that. She proceeds, I've been communicating with Anon sources since the conviction. These people are terrified of Chrissy Drexler because they say she is vicious and vindictive, obsessed with seeing Masterson destroyed, and will attack anyone who dares side with him. I mention this because I now have seen and heard of this evidence. So she has evidence, I guess, of Chrissy being vicious and vindictive and obsessed with destroying Masterson. Well, I remember seeing a Law and Order, a show. It was like two-part episodes. And God forbid, going through an R word, an assault or whatever, it can be soul taking, And I do think it would do something to your fucking head. So when something like that happens, you might hate the person for taking your soul. You might wish to see the worst possible things happen to them. You may have this obsessive need to see them go down when someone takes your soul. Yeah, I mean, that's understandable. And I really do remember seeing a Law and Order episode. It was this girl. She was, and this guy, he had R-worded her, and she literally started stalking him because she was obsessed about ruining his life because she no longer felt safe in her body, in her own home, in anything, because he had taken so much from her. And for people who have never been in this situation, maybe you don't understand why so many people think that this is so wrong, what they've done, and to question. It's just, I don't know. I just don't have the feeling that this is like an Amber Heard type thing where there's all these, things that don't make sense. And Amber was that whole other thing. And now it makes it really fucked up that we're in this situation where we're questioning victims because of her shit. Look at what she's done. Wow. So she's seen and heard evidence of this. She says, what we need to understand here is that many things can be true at the same time. In all of these cases, my main question post-conviction is this really a trial against rape, the R word? I apologize for saying the word. Or the Church of Scientology. From what I've learned so far, I'm conflicted, but I think it's fair to question several factors and motives involved. So I guess this is a trial against Scientology, and the Church of Scientology just sacrificed Danny Masterson. I mean, like, I just, it's really disheartening seeing this. Oof. Man, oh man. So it is not done, because Jessica posted on her story, "Dear Cressy Brexler, since you insist on communicating publicly," because I guess Chrissy responded to her. Ooh, let me see if I can find that first. I want to see if I can find. Okay, so she did. So Chrissy Brexler posted on her story a screenshot of Jessica in House of Habits, her profile of her Instagram, so people know where to find her, and said, "This R word in cult apologist." So now you are now labeled an R word apologist. Is it worth it? I don't know. "This R word and cult apologists keep attacking me with slander and lies. Should I just lie down and take it? Nah, that isn't me. Not anymore." So that was the response that Chrissy had. So then Jessica responds today saying, "Dear Cressy Rexler, since you insist on communicating publicly when you can easily email or DM me, you are the one harassing me. But you are also trying to discredit her story." So, I don't know. "I simply raised question about the aftermath of this high-profile trial like I do, like free speech allows. You cannot sue someone for having an opinion you don't like or posing questions about a trial everyone is talking about, especially when you are the one implicating and insulting people. If you want to speak to me, try reaching out like an adult. If you want to send what I've posted to your lawyers like you're threatening, just know they are your own words. My lawyers are watching too." So they're in a little tiff, a big tiff with each other. Lawyers, this, that, and the other. Is it fucking worth it? Now you got one of the victims labeling you an R-word apologist, but I guess these people, like they say, they like to go against this internet mob or this crowd herd thinking, and be, there's nothing wrong with free thinking, but like you're gonna have to come with, I don't even think it's free thinking, because like, yes, I completely agree with free thinking, but this need to just be on the offense of everything. For what? Like, it's very clear that this situation is fucked up. It's fucked up. And you're really towing in some territory that just doesn't look good. And I hope that there is some empathy and sympathy in putting yourselves in other people's shoes to see how and why this could be so offensive to so many people, the questioning of all of this. And it is very tricky because we have seen victims lie. We have seen victims lie. And this is where it brings us. A mess. So just for the sake of giving like a full picture and what's being said, like I said, my feelings have not changed. Regardless, they're saying that Chrissy is vindictive and she's set out to destroy Danny Masterson and this, that, and other, and blah, blah, blah. If someone took my soul, I might want the same thing, it's just, you can't tell a person how to deal with something like that. You just can't. So, I just wanted to give a rounded out viewpoint of what people are saying out here and how they're feeling. And it's really sad that we're questioning shit at all, but that's what happens when people like AH do the things that they did. It gives room for people to question shit now. Because people sat up and blatantly fucking lied in a court case. For what reason? Mess, y'all. Mess.